Well, let's start off our Halloween extravaganza here as I'm wearing a Halloween shirt purchased at BJ's, where perhaps I should have purchased a double X because this regular X is kind of tight on me. So probably after I wash this sucker, it'll probably fit one of the skeletons out in front. But anyway, going back to black and white, things that scared us, things that we saw when we were kids, things that ran in the wee hours of the morning because they couldn't run anywhere else. And things that actually ran on movie showcases, like the $1 Million Movie out of New York City that basically ran the same movie from Monday till Friday at 8 o'clock at night and twice on Saturday and twice on Sunday. So you would get packages. And of course, that was on Channel 9 RKO, which basically they had a bunch of RKO films to begin with. The original King Kong, Son of Kong, Mighty Joe Young, and some other weird stuff that probably wouldn't even get airplay today, like Slave Ship. So after they sort of ran them into the ground, they started getting packages from other companies. Like they got a package of Allied Artists films, one shot, and they got a package of films released by Joseph E. Levine, which included the original Hercules, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and some other things. But the film that we're going to talk about today is Half Human, another Toho release. And the thing is, these films, let's see, I think Godzilla was 56, Half Human was 58. These films had all Japanese casts. And being that we weren't that far out of WW2, probably nobody thought an all-Japanese cast would fly in the USA. So for Godzilla, they stuck in Raymond Burr as a reporter. And it sort of worked because Raymond Burr as the reporter didn't overshadow Godzilla as the monster. I mean, what could overshadow Godzilla? He was the star. And they decided, Toho, that they were going to do the same thing with Half Human and another film called Varan the Unbelievable. So for Half Human, which was an abominable snowman movie, they basically, God, I don't know, this is so weird, and this is why, I said I like to give certain shit a second look after a lot of years, like I did Cujo, and Cujo sucked when I saw it, and sucked when I saw it again. So this one, not too much difference, because I couldn't find a print of it. I thought I had burned one off a VHS tape years ago, but I couldn't find it. So my girl Lorena went on Internet Archive and found two different versions of it. We got the American version with John Carradine, and we have the supposedly lost version that the Internet Movie Database said was lost. There was no original footage left. So what happened was they basically had a bunch of stuff shot with John Carradine sitting there doing some, psychobabble, which he usually does, and nobody can put over psychobabble the way John Carradine does. He's very sincere in putting over crazy fucking shit when he's playing a mad scientist or, like this, a doctor. And for some reason during this whole thing, John is in a room with two other actors who I don't remember, and I don't think they went anywhere, and John keeps playing with his ears. I don't know what the hell it is. Maybe he's got something stuck in his ear or something, but he keeps playing with his ears during the shoot. And they also bring in another actor, Morris Akram, who you remember from a bunch of 50s and 60s horror films, as a coroner. So what they did was they're trying to do a narrative built around scenes from this movie which are dropped in sort of out of sequence. The premise is that basically this expedition is lost. One guy gets lost. He's brought back to a village where no outsiders are allowed by this wild girl. And she has to go up and appease the Yeti god, which there are two. There's a big Yeti and his son, a small Yeti. So she does that, and while she's doing that, they take this poor bastard out. And this is a really harrowing looking scene, because they basically hang the poor fucker off a cliff and to be dive bombed by birds and shit. So he is saved, actually, by the Yeti, who was out hunting. So the whole thing is, and this is sort of blended in, that there's a circus following this expedition or whatever, and they want to catch the Yeti and exhibit it. We've heard this shit before, because this seems to be the running theme in all the damn Yeti films. So they basically lure the young Yeti outside and capture him, and his screams rouse the adult Yeti, who they drop a big net over and chloroform, but the young Yeti gets away. Now they got this older Yeti locked in this cage on a flatbed truck, and they're speeding away, and the young Yeti jumps from a tree and gets in and trying to free him. So they stop and they throw the young Yeti in the cage. Now they got two for the price of one. But he unties Dad, and Dad basically chokes out the driver to death and causes the truck to crash. The other truck following that one also goes flying off the cliff, and some really realistic fake bodies are dumped. So the Yetis are escaping, and while they're escaping, the leader of the circus people shoots the young Yeti, killing him. Which leads the older Yeti to kill him and go on a fucking rampage and destroy the village because that's the curse and everything, yada yada. So it sort of winds up that the girl that started all this stuff is confronting the Yeti who has captured another girl and is about to throw her in an active volcano, but he puts her down and the wild girl tackles him and they both fall into the volcano. And like I said, this is, basically it's footage danced in around these shots of John Carradine sitting around just mumbling psychobabble. Then they bring in the coroner, Morris Ackrum, who actually Toho sent over the young Yeti suit to use as a corpse. So, honestly, it didn't work, okay? Honestly, the film is long, plotting, and most of the stuff, like I said, is centered on these scenes that are just no action scenes at all. So, anyway, I got to watch these two back to back because now I'm curious. And the untampered with film really plays out as a good Abominable Snowman adventure film. It has the expedition, back, what happened, whatever. It goes through the whole thing. Well, basically, the village wasn't destroyed because of whatever, and the elder wasn't killed. The elder was shot by the circus guys who had been following the exhibition, like I said, verbatim. Now, the thing is, when that leader shot the young Yeti and killed it, and I've never seen this done before in older films. The older Yeti somehow has this guy superimposed over his head, like holding him, and the guy's wiggling like crazy, and then throws him off the cliff, and it cuts to one of these realistic fake bodies rolling down. So that was pretty effective. So, we go by the whole thing where the continuity is pretty good because you actually know what the fuck's going on. And, it ends like the first one ended. The girl sacrifices herself to knock in. The girl is more prominent in the uncut film. And like I said, the uncut film can be found on internetarchive.com. Actually, both of them can be filmed there because Lorena burnt me off a disc of each. That's how I was able to do this because I honestly didn't have any real, memories of this whole thing. And like I said, I couldn't find the one I burned, so that was it. So it's worth seeking out maybe to watch them back to back. But as far as the American version, well, it fucking tanked. Another one, it was on $1 Million Movie. It ran, the week and was never brought back. Like I said, they did the same thing with Varan the Unbelievable, only they used character actor Myron Healy as a general, I think, if I remember right. I had the 8mm thing. Myron Healy, not a really big name. He was in The Unearthly, another Mad Dr. Carradine vehicle, and did a lot of cameos as cops, generals, and soldiers during, 50s and 60s and 70s TV. So that's where he is. So that's our first film for the Halloween season, and someone had brought something up about my unexplained absence from Cinema Wasteland, which is actually going on this weekend. I have no issue with the show as a whole. If people want to go there and they're happy going there and they have a good time, have a good time. My issue is basically that the promoter basically wanted me gone, but didn't have the stones to tell me he wanted me gone, even though I asked him, do we have a problem, and he kept blowing it off. Well, pretty much made my life miserable. I left, and I've been having incidents ever since because for some reason this guy doesn't want to let up with this stuff. I left. Nobody fired me. Nobody told me to go. I didn't really want to go because I enjoyed interacting with friends and fans, but I'm not going to stay where I'm not wanted. And right about now, if somebody asked me to go up there, I would have to say no because honestly, I don't feel safe up there. I feel there's an undercurrent of violence directed toward me by for whatever reason, because I don't know. And like I said, anybody who wants to get a hold of me or go grab a bite or something over the weekend, I'm home. Just PM me on Facebook or email me or something. But like I said, I bear no one any ill will for going there. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. For me, the heart and soul of that whole thing was ripped right out of it. It just seems to me it's nothing more than a open distribution center for the 5 boutique DVD companies. So, but like I said, if you're into it, go enjoy, have a good time. Tell everybody I said hi. And my buddy Gonzo will have Grindhouse Resurrection 1 and 2 up there for sale because I don't have any 3s. So if you need them, go see by his table. And of course, patronize the vendors that, have been there from the get-go. And a lot of them have been. So I understand. It's sad to see what happened. It's sad that I can't be there. But like I said, right about now, I don't feel like I need any more added attractions as far as stress goes. And like I said, I honestly don't feel safe there. So that's our show for today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you tomorrow for another great movie.